Hey there, how you doing? This is Matthew Hunt. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Powered by Search, and I put together a quick webinar here about paid digital marketing for beauty schools. If you're watching this, you probably own or help with the marketing around a beauty school, and I think that you're going to find this presentation very helpful. I want to cover what you're going to learn and why you should stay tuned into this webinar. Today, you're going to learn how students are searching to find beauty schools to attend. And I guess the big question is that you're going to want to ask yourself is, are these people who are searching for beauty schools, are they going to become your students? If you learn how they are searching, chances are you can increase that opportunity for them becoming your students. You're also going to learn where your prospective students are searching for schools to attend, and then, how. They're searching for education in 2014 and probably beyond. One of the first things I want to point out right away is I want to point out this interesting statistic here around education. So we're able to pull back some interesting information from Google on education searches. And interesting enough, searches around the cosmetology industry in education is one of the fastest growing ones out of all of them, above nursing, healthcare, above hospitality. So if you run a beauty school right now, this is obviously a trending category for education. There's a lot of people who are looking to attend a beauty school. I want to point out why maybe you should listen to us. At Powered by Search, we really understand the beauty school niche. And listen, it kind of happened by accident. What happened is we got this client a couple years ago. Um, and we started doing marketing for a beauty school. We didn't really, know a lot about it before, but now we know a ton about your industry, and we started doing really well with them, where they were able to grow from 2 locations to a third location. So they're actually filled out and pre-sold, their third location through doing this type of digital marketing, particularly with focusing on on Google as well as paid search within Google. And so if you're in this industry, you're going to recognize some of these brands that are here. We actually have worked with now about a dozen different beauty schools across the board, and this is why we thought we should put together this webinar to be helpful and to see if maybe we could help more beauty schools, with this. I just want to show you a quick case study of this first beauty school that we started working with, and this is the trend that all the others are getting as well from us working with them. But we've literally doubled their traffic and leads year over year by them working with us, which is really exciting for them. So if you're looking to grow your beauty school, this is something that you're really going to want to pay attention to throughout this webinar. So some beauty school insights that we want to focus on here is that cosmetology is, we already showed you this already, is one of the fastest growing industries for people searching within Google and any for any of the EDU education programming. However, something you need to really be aware of is that searches on desktop computers is declining. Even over the last 3 months, we've seen an 8 to 10% decline in searches for your industry on desktop. But the good news is, and here's the good news, is that searches for beauty schools on mobile devices has increased by 33%. So that's where it's getting made out. Basically, people are changing the way they're searching. They're using desktops less and less, and they're using their phones more and more. And I'm sure this is not really any real surprises to anybody. If you take a look at this data here, this is the data that we're looking at here. And you can see this is us looking at desktop searches, and you can see how the queries has been decreasing over time. The impressions have been decreasing over time on desktop, and the same with the clicks. However, if we look at the mobile, it's the opposite, it's increasing. And so the note here that you really want to pay attention to is that, mobile is your future. So if you're looking to find more students for your school, you really got to make sure your digital marketing has a strong focus around mobile. As you can see from this slide right here, quarter after quarter from 2000, if you look at 2012 through to 2014, the queries around education and on mobile phones has a 23% year over year growth. So some of the things we're going to talk about today are going to be around how can you make your digital marketing more mobile friendly. So let's get into this and talk about this again. So if we take a look here at this particular graph here, we can see that people in your industry from, Q3 of 2013 versus a year later, Q3 2014, that there's a lot more searches that are taking place on the mobile. So what does that mean? This is basically this is the sort of the new versus the old. Now this doesn't mean, if you take a look at, these are natural search results in Google. The one on the left is what you see when you see a desktop search result, and this is actually one for one of our clients. If you can see here, it's actually searching for, I believe, Bellevue, a beauty school in Bellevue, and you can see up here their ad is coming up that's highlighted in green. And then funny enough, here down below organically, you can see that their listings are number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. They control basically all the inventory above the fold. This is why they're doing so well, compared to their competitors, is because they're ranking really well organically, as well as they're running on the ads. Out of all the positions here, including the ads that are above the fold, they own 5 out of the 7 that are here, which is pretty incredible. Now, what's interesting, though, that you have to pay attention to is that, and this is really, really, really important, is that as more searches are taking place on mobile phones, which is what it would look like on the right, notice that above the fold here, when I'm looking at this, there's only 3 positions, and 2 of those positions are ads. So what this should mean to you is that it's really important that when you're running that you're running ads on mobile, because you get to control the majority above the fold. So if you are not running Google Ads, the step 1 would be you would need to. And then 2, when you're running mobile ads, you want to make sure that you're bidding really strong. Like, one of the mistakes we find when we take over a beauty school's campaign is that they're not bidding, adjusting the bid adjustments on their AdWords campaign, the bid stronger, the guarantee that their ads are in position 1 or 2 on mobile. And you can see why that's super important to do. The other thing that you're going to want to do is you're really going to want to make sure that you have a mobile friendly website. And it's sometimes even more than just mobile friendly. You want to make sure that it's actually responsive, okay? And responsive just means that it resizes appropriately no matter what device that you're on. So, I could show you another example. I don't have one live right now, but what I'm showing you here is, here's a client in the beauty school industry where we recently took their website, which was not mobile friendly, okay, to making it responsive. And if we look at the data here, look at number 2 around where it says mobile, what you're going to see that's really interesting here is that look at how many sessions occurred. When it was not mobile friendly, they had 600 odd over a two-week period of time sessions. And then when we look at the other 2-week period of time in November, comparing the same time of month, they had 4,200 sessions. It's way more engaged. And then what happens when your mobile website is the leads increase. So immediately, with not making any change on how much traffic we're sending to the website or how we're paying for it, we increase the conversion rate by 38% just by making the website mobile friendly. And this is what your students want. They're on the phone. So there's nothing worse than being on your phone doing a search and going to a website that you have to kind of pinch in to be able to zoom in and read it. It's very hard to do. It needs to be mobile friendly, that they can do all the things that they need to do, like request more information to your school. So the takeaway here is, if you're not running AdWords for mobile, do it right away. 2 is make sure that you're bidding strong enough to get positions 1 or 2. And 3 is, please, let's make sure that you have a mobile friendly website. Here's some interesting information again, that is outside of mobile that you need to pay attention to, particularly if you're running AdWords campaigns, or even if you're not running AdWords campaigns, the reason why you should. 70% of people begin searching for something without knowing where they'll get it from, okay? And then 80% of those people on their mobile phones might consult up to 4 different digital sources before making a decision. And 10 is the average number of online sources users use before they make a decision. So what this means is that even if people find your school, okay, which is, if you look at your Google Analytics, if you happen to run Google Analytics, you're going to notice that a lot of them don't actually end up filling out your information right away. Okay, they need to look at multiple different beauty schools and different sources before they actually maybe choose yours. So it's really, really important that a couple things. One is, the first one is, people don't necessarily even know if they're searching for what it is that you do. For example, some students don't even know what education program they want to go into, but they're searching education type stuff. They know they need to go to school. So we want to then, make sure that we're obviously out on the display network and showing up on content that is related to either the beauty industry and or to anything educational. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more of that further down the road. But then on top of that, we also want to make sure that we're doing some remarketing. And again, we're going to talk about more about what remarketing is, but this basically means we're bringing users back to your website after they've left again, because they've already been exposed to your brand. If they can be re-exposed to your brand multiple times, and it makes it really easy for them to find you and find you over and over and over again, you increase your chances at getting more enrollments. If we take a look at this, this is some really interesting search data that will explain some of the story here. 79% of the time, people are on other websites outside of the search engines. Okay, this is the display network. And then 21% of the time, people are actually searching in the search engine where they're looking to sort of solve a problem. So most of the time, people, where the eyeballs that you're trying to attract are not even necessarily searching for you. They're on other sites, on other places doing other things, and we want to make sure that your brand is present and in front of them. So some of the cool things that we can do today on the display network that is amazing, that gives you an incredible ROI, is that we can reach people based on demographics, and we can reach people based on the content they're viewing. And when we do that, when we reach people based on this, we're getting in front of your target buyers, your ideal buyers, your ideal students. Some of the things we know about your niche right now is that, that they're mostly females. We know that they're in between the ages of 18 and 30. We know that's not universal, but we know that's most of the time the case. Here's the thing that we also know about most beauty schools is that there's more inventory on places like the display network than there is budget that you may have. And what we find a lot of beauty schools make a mistake of, either A, they're just not on the display network at all, or two, when they are, they don't use any of the selecting around demographics because they're not aware of how to use the tool, or the agency they're working with doesn't know how to use the tool appropriately. But if you bid on demographics where it's based on gender and the age group, then you're going to be much more in front of the target audience that you ideally want to be in, and you're going to attract the type of people that you want to your website. And the display network is much more cost effective than the search network, so it's a great way to augment that. And remember, 80% of the people are on the display network. So 80% of the people who are your ideal prospects are actually over there, and we want to be smart about that and get over there. Now, the second thing we want to do is we want to layer it with context. So if we can layer it on top of that, not only with gender, but we can then layer it on top of that where your ads are showing up only when they're looking at educational type sources or things to do with the beauty industry. You could even sometimes show up on content where they're actually talking about, attending beauty schools, and you want your ad to be there. That would be really important. So if you look down here in the bottom left, this is a text ad or an image ad or video ads, as well as ads on mobile. This is where you want to be. If you take a look at this, backing this up again, here's some analytics of one of the schools that we work with, and this just shows you that 1/3 of all their visitors, as well as their conversions, are from return visitors. So if you're not focused on getting people to come back to your website, you're definitely missing out and leaving money on the table. Let's talk about remarketing next. This is a really important tip about remarketing. So here's the thing about bringing people back to the website and why that's important. So for those of you that don't understand remarketing, you basically put a pixel on your website, and when people come to your website, we cookie them in the browser. And as long as they don't delete their cookies, we're able to remember that they went to the website. And if they didn't take the action that we want them to take, which was to request more information or to book a school tour or to phone you, because you can even tie it towards phoning as a goal, we want to do remarketing to them. We want to be able to bring them back. And this is where we make our ads show up to them across the display network to be able to bring them back to your website. And we want to be smart about it. Usually we create banner creatives and text ad creatives that are specific to the pages that they visited on your website. So for example, if someone visited the cosmetology page and left your website, we want to then remarket to them with banner ads that are about cosmetology. However, someone visit the aesthetics page or the massage page or a different page, we then want to create creatives that are specific to that page they visited so that they then get a different marketing message around aesthetics. It's more specific. And then if we layer that with demographics like gender and age and context of where they are, it's going to be amazing results that you get. I mean, you can't get that type of marketing anywhere in the world. You can't zero in that specific on radio or print or any other place, and is very, very powerful. So, if you're not doing remarketing today, this is something we highly recommend that you do. We're finding a lot of success from our clients who are doing that. So the takeaway here, at the end of the day, if you want to do really well, is we want to, pay attention that your industry is growing, okay? People are searching for it online, and out of all the EDUs, out of all the education systems out there, it's growing the fastest, which is good news for you. Two, you need to note the trend is that people are doing more searches on their phone than they are desktops today. So that means that you need to run ads very aggressively on mobile, especially since the real estate is so much less than desktop. There's way less room, opportunities for you to be seen, so you got to be super aggressive there. Your organic has almost no reach when it comes to, the mobile. You need to bid on ads. You need to pay for ads. It's called pay to play, okay? Two, you need to bid aggressively so you're there. Three, you need to make sure you have a mobile website. And then four, you need to make sure that you're not just bidding on search, okay? Because 80% of the people that you're trying to attract are not on search 80% of the time. They're on display network. And then the fourth is you need to remarket to these visitors. You need to get them to come back to your website multiple times, because 1/3 of all the people who are going to sign up for your programming are people who came back. So if we can get them to come back, that's good. Note that when you get them to come back, it's usually cheaper to do so than it is to have to get them to pay for the click again via search again. So I hope that this webinar, this short webinar, was useful and gave you some very insightful tips on what you can do with your marketing around paid search. There's obviously many more things that you can do. When we work with our beauty schools, not only do we work with paid search, we also work with the SEO, search engine optimization, the organic section. We do social media marketing as well, where we where we help them with the Facebook marketing too, as well as we help them with conversion rate optimization and their website design. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. However, this was really focused around, this webinar was mostly be focused around PPC, specifically AdWords, and the opportunities there that are in Google, and the reasons why you should do paid advertising and run AdWords campaigns. If you have any questions about this, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to reach out. In fact, I'd like to actually offer and extend a free PPC audit to anybody who happens to be an owner or running a beauty school or in charge of their marketing there. This really has a value of close to $500. We spend quite a bit of time on your audit. If you'd like an audit, we will do an audit of your PPC account. You just need to get us access to it. We'll do an audit of your search campaign, your display campaign, your remarketing campaign. Now, if you're not running an AdWords campaign, we highly recommend that you do so. You can reach out about us about managing that for you as well too. Be happy to do that. The best way to get in touch with me is you can visit poweredbysearch.com and reach out to anybody, or phone that phone number there. Use our contact forms to get there. Or if you want to just get in touch with me directly, feel free to reach out to me. It's just Matthew at Powered by Search. And in the subject line, just put free beauty school PPC audit. And if you do that, I'll get in touch with you within 24 hours on business days. And if you give us, once we get access to your account, if you just give us a week, we'll be able to do a great audit, follow up with you, and we can discuss how we can maybe help you with your digital marketing in 2015 or beyond, whenever you happen to be watching this. Hope you have a brilliant day, and thank you for attending this webinar. Bye for now.